Hello everyone, I'm Citival, and today we're gonna continue reading World and Economica episode 2. So, well, I guess first announcement, which I'm already told about in previous World and Economica stream, but let me repeat. And think is this gonna be a last visual novel stream on my Twitch channel. I still gonna continue streaming, make streams, but starting from next week, it's gonna be only on my second YouTube channel, Serial React, because of few reasons. Well, firstly, I am kind of think what watching visual novels from the middle is kind of strange. So, if someone gonna find this stream and actually wanted to watch, it's probably better for them just start from the first stream. And obviously Twitch don't really keep VODs, so all what's already on YouTube. But besides that, yeah, you can say what streaming on Twitch can help because people actually gonna see what type stream something and I guess stream these visual novels and want to check them and watch them for some reason. But yeah, there's another problem. I kinda consider these visual novels my worst of type of the content in sense of mostly unwatchable because you know my English and I kinda sometimes struggle to read. Which still don't mean I'm not gonna continue. I like reading, and I also consider it as a practice to improve my English. At least I hope it's helping me, which I'm not sure. But yeah. And besides, another reason it's I guess most different content from everything else what I'm doing, because most our contents is me playing. Well, okay, I also have reaction streams when I react to anime. But still, as I already said, this one most unwatchable. So if you for some reason watching this, thank you. Why you do it? I mean, there's another people who played these visual novels, and I think it's a little better to watch people who can actually read. But I guess thank you. Who knows? Maybe in 5 years I became famous, and my future fans gonna return to these streams and watch me struggle to read them. Which is gonna be really embarrassing. But anyway, so main thing, as I said, from next week, streams gonna be only on my Serial React YouTube channel. They already on this channel. I am streaming on both YouTube and Twitch simultaneously. So all previous what's on this channel for visual novels. For games, it's on Citival channel. Links in about patch. If you watching it on Twitch, if you're watching it on YouTube, well, links in the description, and you're already watching it on YouTube. Anyway, so let's get back to the novel itself. In previous stream we stopped. Well, it mostly was about Chris and Haru visiting Avalon, which had a really good guide who really know his work and was really selling Avalon And it seems like mostly people believe whatever he's saying, including Chris, but Harold definitely feels with something wrong. What exactly? Mm, I don't remember the says. Mm, well, I guess it was mostly about trading, but they really told um, was talking about trading, or at least a guy was really trying to sell this trading, which don't really seem like something what makes sense in the energy company sense. But yeah. But yeah, anyway. Hmm? Oh. Yeah, there's something strange about them trading. Something what I not exactly understand, explain why they doing it, why they really showing this, and what exactly going on with this company. But there's something should going on because we know this company kinda shady. Mm, but yeah, I guess now they return from this tour, and we continue from the next day, I believe. Uh-huh. Yeah. So let's actually just start reading. Okay. Microphone a little bit. Okay. A few days after the expedition to Avalon, the trial program from Seralt came. An email came saying that researchers had all been clamoring. Me too, after seeing Chris' photo and profile. Mm, Seralt really was talking, but they wanted to talk with Chris because she's smart, and not because she's a girl. But now it's make me a little bit doubtful. I was concerned and wondered if those guys were okay, in many senses of the word. But the trial program they sent was quite good. I pretty much expected that Avalon be ranked first. The training name considered most optimistic, and who's holding the highest ranking on the market by this program, and also by Chris' program, was Avalon. They said the algorithm it was based on as well, so even I should be able to input whatever you want, Hal. Man, this is quite amazing as it is, though. Let's scroll down the display. It particularly matched up with the training names I had sent to Chris over the last few days. But as there were limits to manpower, there, there were many training names I didn't know. This isn't good. What are we doing to do if someone's figured out this method? They'll pull ahead in no time, and then profits will dry up. If we start making profits by using this program, it will reflect in the stock prices. If someone doing data mining catch on them, it's only a matter of time. Before that, it's then unfurled and the well-sized rolled panel. A device capable of displaying data from a tablet, as well being a touch panel, it could be written on directly to airborne companies with offices set up on the moon were in fierce competition with things like this. So older models could be bought at a bargain price at second-hand shops. This had left a mouth text of some sort displayed on there. She seemed to often stand facing the wall, running formulas well into the night I thought she was drawing pictures. Before that, as I encouraged her to go on, Chris gave me a white green in that unladylike room. Create an overwhelming advantage. Makes sense, but isn't it a little bit risky? Can they be completely sure that their program is working? Hmm, well, probably. Well, so far it was working. So, and it's probably not like they're gonna just use all of their money immediately. Anyway, Chris was trying to become one of the carnivorous beasts of the lower surface. So, as she said this brashly, it was close to being downright adorable. Now, we don't have to worry about house curfew. We can talk all we want. Scary Lisa come to drag you off to sleep now. Heck, maybe we could buy wireless transmitters and connect them? We should sleep at night. I rose from Chris' chair, where I'd been sitting, and said that in an almost disguised tone. There appears to be a direct negative correlation between the time you sleep and increased profits. With the lights off, so that the panel could shine, and just the panel reflected on her glasses, it was difficult to see Chris's expression. But under sunlight, it was very easy to make out the dark circles. She probably couldn't help herself having so much fun, but turned out I'm not Lisa. I still wanted to knock her about it. Also, sorry, but I have something I need to do after this. I guess he's talking about his work for Eleanor, but his how it's called, research or investigation, I guess, yeah. Investigation of Avalon. Huh? Where are you going? Ever since I started staying at the church, this would follow along, even if I was just going out to pick up something. She went to the office on Schrodinger Street almost every day to watch over the trains, performing maintenance and implementing corrections. But other than that, she never left me. I recalled a few years back, during the period devoted to my rehabilitation. Back then, Chris was more passionate about it than I was. I'm being summoned by Eleanor. I'm heading to the Royal Central Hotel. Oh, right now? Then I'll go too. He said to come alone. If Hal actually saying things like this, especially since it's really late, is I kind of think it can cause some misunderstandings. What? Come alone to the hotel at night. Yep. Chris, lost for words, and making a face that showed she clearly was caught off guard, saw that she was about to walk, tripped on something and stumbled. What? Could that be? You're going to be talking about stock analysis. She said if you listen in, your decision making could be affected, and she doesn't want that. I took Chris' arm and helped her up. I liked the delicate body. This was so delicate. When I imagined myself having been supported by her these past few years, I felt deeply ashamed. What were you thinking that you got you that surprised? I inquired directly, putting back Chris' glasses properly. She was clearly nervous, but when I moved my hands back from her glasses, she followed them with a wistful gaze. Then she looked to me slowly, with her turned, pained eyes. Why would you ask me that? Because Hagan never made that kind of face at me. I shrugged and pinched Chris' cheek a bit. Is it a good thing to compare her with Hagana? I'm kinda not sure about this. Chris puffed out her cheeks, groaning. Yet, my hand showed not a twinkle of stiffering when I mentioned Hagana's name jokingly like this. Chris seemed happy about the joke, partly because she actually liked being teased, but also probably because it might have been a sign that I was getting over what happened 4 years ago. And I guess because if he getting over it, it's actually became hope for her what she getting over Hagana, so he may actually choose Chris in the end. When will you be coming back? I was told to call if things look like they're going to drag on. Liz is strict about this stuff. I'll wait up for you. Go to sleep. The conversation carried on until we reached the entrance. Liz was indifferent, deeply focused on making materials for the kindergartners across the corridor. I placed my hand on top of Chris' head, thinking this might not be so bad either. After all, don't you still have to decode the program from here out? Oh, just at a glance. There were some bits that felt a bit off. There's so much to talk about, even if I didn't want to. Aren't you going to create an overwhelming advantage? I ruffled her hair, then let go, like I was tossing her back. Chris eyed Spoon like she was dizzy. Right at the end, she gave an exasperated chuckle. You really are mean, Hal. She stared at Raur happily. The lower surface chilled when the sun set. I lifted my scarf up to cover my mouth and went forth into Newton City. So actually, if he gonna talk with Eleanor, maybe he gonna mention what exactly, well, what he find wrong with Avalon. Or maybe Eleanor gonna have some ideas. Anyway. I had recorded my impressions and random thoughts when I toured Avalon to send an email to Eleanor. But it was only today that she responded. She wrote, I think I can make a bit of time, so why not have a little something as we go? Famous for its 100 million moon night scenery, Newton City was lit up regardless of the energy shortages. The area in front of the Royal Central Hotel was buzzing as usual, swarming with individuals wearing the full coats and carrying canes. Apparently, there was some sort of reception going on tonight, as people were flooding regardless of how late it was. And worth of note, the attendees were wearing formal attire, in which they looked quite good. Tuxedos with black ties, the rulers of the moon. Then there was me, wearing my usual clothes, fumbling around on a crutch, carrying an apple pie wrapped in a napkin like I'd just gotten it from my grandma. Lisa forced me to take it along, saying I can't go over there if I had something to present to the lady. I was tempted to say, she's an ability living in a room that cost 100,000 moons a night, but it's more trouble than it worth to oppose her, so I did as I was told. Many people were chatting in the lobby, the men slapping each other on the shoulders in an exaggerated manner, the women propping their hands gracefully on their hips. I realized how out of place I looked, and brought my mood down. I made my way curling my back. Not because I was overwhelmed, but rather because I was appalled. I went to the front desk and gave Eleanor's name just as she has instructed. I was then told to wait for a moment. A swarm of ladies and gentlemen passed by me. Definitely a sight calculated to make one feel that the moon was drunk with prosperity. Sorry for the wait. As long after I thought that and waited a bit, Eleanor arrived. Wearing her usual attire, she wore some fluffy or light cape-like thing. She was the spitting image of a lady in good standing who could fit in everywhere, and surrounded by formal wear. I wonder how I must have looked standing at her side. Probably like someone out of Disney riff-raff, feeling a naive but wealthy damsel. My apologies for making you come all this way today. It's nothing. There's something we need to talk about that's faster in person than by email. Yes, I thought as much. That's why I called for you. Meaning? The prose of your emails is too graph. Hmm? What this mean? Huh? Okay. Was it too difficult to understand? Leonor gave a small nod, then said, "Not so much difficult, as it felt like I was reading legal text." Interesting. Is there a chance it's because his office job? Which meant it was difficult. Well, before we begin, let's move to the restaurant. I do know a particularly good restaurant in our hotel. Quite the impressive person. Are you normally like this? Normally? No. Well, lately, I suppose. Took the lead, much as Chris would, walking through the lobby out the front entrance. Seeing all the black limos parked in one place, and speaking out formal dressed ladies and gentlemen, it was a mystery to me how they avoided causing a traffic jam. Mrs. Song Company's new stock publication party. I looked back over at the faces of fools in formal attire. Did they all look greedy to me because of what I just been told? These hotels are all booked with events of this nature. You see, that is one of the reasons I am able to stay in that suit. Looking over at Eleanor, I saw a mischievous grin on her face. It seemed she wanted to kill the waiting time with riddles. I pondered for that for a bit. There were a few basic resources in the world, meaning the prices of what was not available would continue to increase. The reason your employer can reserve that ridiculously priced room for a long period of time is because whenever there are major events, prioritize the serving the reception hall of this hotel. Yeah, exactly. Seeing the most illustrious hotel on the lunar surface, you can't buy that sort of status with money alone. It also becomes a fine advertisement for the hotel when high-priced rooms are always booked sold. In the state of your room, a fine advertisement too. My. Chris would have probably pouted. I started at the floor, embarrassed, but Eleanor simply gave a small chuckle. The composure of the relief refined. With each of her small movements, her wavy, platinum blonde hair shimmered like snow under the light of the lobby. I wonder, that company this is. It must be a big deal if it attracts this many people. Let me guess, is it Avalon? But then again, Avalon has the company building, which also really rich. I believe they probably can just organize events in their own building, on their own territory. Who knows? I looked around as I said that. Eleanor looked around too. A trace of smile rewound as she passed her somewhat chilly gaze over the scene. If I remember correctly, it's a venture industry company using some innovative method to transport goods within the lower cities. I believe their newly listed stock raised about 200 million moons. 200 million moons sounded incredible, but there was something more that caught my attention. innovative transportation method. They take advantage of our gravity being 1/6 of that of Europe and shoot the freight between cities. They say it will become the new leading method of transport, 10 times faster, 3 times cheaper, zero traffic. I was constantly impressed. The second and third lunar cities were expanding constantly. Running supplies had to be done with wheeled vehicles. So, blasting them through space like that would seem to be a logical alternative. Sure know you stuff. Then again, this was Suzy Wu I was talking to. Waiting for a limousine, Eleanor spoke as she was looking away from me. In the beginning, they had approached me about it. Meaning? They came to me saying, we would like to list a new stock. For a moment, I didn't understand what Eleanor meant. Eleanor's job was driving the quality of stocks, wasn't it? Then, would that mean the company was thinking of listing their stocks so they asked her to analyze the quality of something? But, if that were the case, what did she mean what she said in the beginning? So, I guess they probably wanted her to promote their stock for people to buying it. Well, pretty much do same thing what Avalon's guy doing. Like use their influence to influence the market. Anyway. As I stood there confused, Eleanor explained the cold, white puff of breath and continued. I am an analyst. I analyze stocks. Right? At the same time, my employer, Platinum Smith, is an investing bank, whose I assist when a company wishes to list a new stock. Oh. A limo had pulled up while Eleanor was speaking. We entered the cream-colored interior of the black steel cage. And a company listing a new stock, And a company listing a new stock wants as many people as possible to buy it for a price high as possible. The founder and the venture capitalist holding stock in the company wanted it to take off magnificently, like a rocket the moment it was listed on the stock exchange. That was their little wish. We hadn't given the driver a destination, but the limo had begun to move smoothly. Eleanor's tone also was calm and smooth, but there was a touch of spite at the end, and I could see from the profile of her expression that she was upset. An investment bank earns its fee when the share issuance move on unhindered. This also involves the stock value increasing unhindered. Basically, so they want to have you, Eleanor, analyze it and give her seal of approval. Yes, it's 100 times more effective to have my recommendation instead of some investment bank specialist. You see? I see you. The midst of the many new companies being added to the ticker daily, if you wanted to raise attention and make a successful debut, a bit of five and drum actions was necessary. If a corporation is going to pay the handling fees, it stands to reason they want to go to the people with the loudest with the loudest fifes and drums. So it was probably no big deal for them to ask for a buttered up review since they were paying the handling fees. You said in the beginning before. What did that mean? When I asked that, Leonor clearly furrowed her brow. It then went over to where Iceman is. Iceman? The analyst with false reading our him. If a line drawn between Barton and himself, showing receipt of insider info. Yes. Why? Because I refused. I stared at Eleanor profile in disbelief. It resulted in Harold Bros handling the issuing of the shares rather than Platinum Smith. asked me driver about them during their publication briefing. It probably won't be long until you see his splendid parade. I wasn't all that versed in corporate finances, but even with my meager knowledge, I understand what that mean. Wouldn't that mean you lost work for Platinum Smith? Why, yes. If I were the lead manager for an equity handling syndicate, this would depend on the type of stocks, but that would be anywhere from 3 to 5% commission. I thought back to that Eleanor had talked about in the lobby. What did she say? The amount procured had been about 200 million moons. 5% of that was 10 million moons. When I sent over the documents stamped rejected, the investment banking division people made the same face you're making now. Leonor then gave a taunting loud. Maybe sardonic quips were just her thing, because that smile suited her well. But why would you? I mean, obviously, why she doing this? She is believing justice, and there is pretty much her main reason to doing work what she's doing right now. So it makes sense what she's refused. Hmm. But I actually don't exactly get it. Did she get fired as Yuzifu? Um, like Platinum Smith was the company who paid her as Yuzifu or not, or I misremembering things. Mm, because from one side, if it's the case, then from one side I understand her wanting justice and stuff. But if he lost her connections, it's gonna make her, I think, for her much more hard. Mm, but then again, even if she lost connections, she's still popular. She still has influence. Anyway, it shouldn't be difficult to do a bit of analysis and give them a decent appraisal. Because it's a fraudulent enterprise. Leonor studied it flatly, shaping by shooting between domes. Rest your chin, assured it just like a noble would. Are they trying to tear a hole in the domes? Oh, I checked with the construction bureau, and certainly there had been a building schematic application with it currently under review. But I cannot imagine building a cannon for a single enterprise could be approved. All land outside of the domes is owned by the government, and the regulations on personal usage are rather severe. All that permitted are astronomical observatories, other space research institutions, and energy production panels. Honestly, what would they do if one of the capsules missed its mark? I'm not that clear on the situation. Could it be they're trying to swindle Earthlings? People on the lower surface are also being swindled. This company has never the canal nor the ammunition. Yet they're making profits and sales. Why do you think that might be? What? Now that she mentioned it, even if you were to have founded a company of a single idea, you'd need to show some level of success before you could list it up on the stock exchange. Based upon the assumption the canal will be built, they would make an online exchange platform to trade the transportation schedule slots, and they would take their free fee from that. I read this company overview 3 times over. I hadn't the faintest idea about what they meant. I just couldn't understand what kind of company this would be. I didn't ever understand immediately what I was being told. There's such a system that doesn't exist yet. Under the presumption it would be created, and be steering the transportation schedule. Come to think of it seemed that all are detailed and On the previous era, before the idea of a lunar capital was even dreamed of, there was a company that sold real estate on the lunar surface. I wonder what happened with that. You could call it audacious. It might sound appropriate to call them the Avalon of shipping, but even Avalon is transporting their energy correctly. Put on our way, it's like a casino. The truth is, it's a proud. I couldn't list such a thing on the stock exchange. More than that, giving it a good rating would be impossible. I knew this, and that's why I rejected it. Abide by your own justice. Eleanor said that with her profile showing a defiant expression. There are parties held every night, just as lively as in that lobby in the hotels on the moon. Particularly, all of them are the same. The stock exchange is too excited. Just listing two stocks makes them shoot up in worth. My father is quite wealthy. Was able to buy those new stocks beforehand are rejoicing. What happens after this probably doesn't matter at all that to them. At that time, they have sold them off, and believing in the lap of luxury on off. There's just too much of that sort of malice. Eleanor gazed out the tinted window. She continued. However, since Herald Bros, Iceman did accept it. It became a great success. My defiance was probably meaningless. What Eleanor was doing was the same as that Rena and I had done in the government branch office. It was the same thing as when we exposed abuse cases of the subsidy program. Regardless of the number of cases, it also really was meaningless. There were piles of similar requests filled at our branch offices and undoubtedly passed right on through. Even if we rejected them, they'd be passed over elsewhere, and it all turned out the same. But I didn't believe that my adrenal actions were meaningless. It's true that it may not have any effect on the system as a whole. But I don't think it's meaningless if you're doing that you feel is correct. Eleanor turned from the scenery outside and brought her gaze to me. Then she smiled and looked downwards a bit. My apologies. Thank you. Not at all. After I said that, Eleanor turned to the window again and looked outside. She appeared to be terribly exhausted. Getting my way has actually begun causing a bit of a problem now. Huh? As I said that, the car stopped. Eleanor turned to look at me. Okay. In one moment, when this image CG was appearing, she looked a little bit creepy. Anyway, this is a problem I must solve. For today, shall we not enjoy ourselves insulting Avalon? Okay. Eleanor's smile was downright devilish, lit up by the light flooding in from the open door. Okay, so it actually was by design. Insulting Avalon was an oddly way of putting it. In a red carpeted, dimly lit private room, I didn't know the exact location. Eleanor and I ate a strange, multi-course meal as we talked about Avalon. The only thing I remember about the meal was the main meat dish. The rest were composed of strange, unfamiliar ingredients. Most surprisingly, the main thing I remember was how delicious it was. As we ate that strange stuff, I told her all over again about what we went down during the Avalon Company seminar. Avalon's unbridged optimistic outlook, the existence of their training room, those too has struck me as off. That really bored me was they were saying that they weren't gambling, yet presented their gambling room for all to see. And that division posted losers, but while they were that closely watched, it was inevitable that they'd take a sharp dive. Yet, it doesn't seem there were any chance of that happening. Therefore, only two possible things came to mind. One, they had a surefire method, something akin to a card counting on rigging slot machines. I mean, I think it also can be all just fake for showing to our peoples. Anyway. Or two, that wasn't the case. Their contradictory composition meant they had some other purpose. Eleanor said there's certainly that possibility. Avalon's assets, their power stations and grid, that is, still had not publicly disclosed their inner working. It makes remarkably a bug on exactly how much their profits as an energy company took up. Of course, small goods stores in the city either didn't have a defined and complete breakdown of inventory showing how much of each product had sold, what their profits were. For large corporations, even if if they had no ill intent, it wasn't hard to imagine how terrible that could get. No. But even with that in mind, she was saying Avalon as a whole had something very off about it. Leonor said she had gathered all the public knowledge available about Avalon on the moon, then gave me a small data drive. On it, she said, were all possible now numerated details on their assets and profits. I took it, as I ate some dessert composed of vanilla ice cream together, of vanilla ice cream topped with a shot of espresso. Apparently that called affogato. As I took the memory device, I remembered the apple pie Lisa had made me bring. So I handed it over after finishing my fancy dessert in a fancy restaurant. And before thinking of secret thoughts such as whatever an apple pie wrapped in a cloth would suit the palate of a noble woman, the very object itself was no fitting for someone like Eleanor, who was herself a perfect addition to the surroundings. That's what I thought, but Eleanor accepted it so very happily, saying she'd save it for a midnight snack. It was already quite late by now, but Eleanor had said she still had reports that needed compiling. Considering how strenuous that can be, and looking at her frail figure, I could only imagine that all the calories she ate were consumed by her brain. As we parted ways, I told her she should take a break once in a while, but Eleanor just smiled and gave no answer. In order to bring about justice, Suzy Wu must increase her influence for the day that is come. That's that Eleanor had said. But then there was the duty of Eleanor Schwitzer, the duty of uncovering Avalon's unsolvable riddle. And whatever the reason, I had accepted this duty. I had to give it my all, knowing at some point I might have to tell her that her suspicion was all in her head. It just that Eleanor had appeared terribly feeble when we had parted. And whose few words she muttered during the drive about problem. I wondered about that until I went to bed. Hmm? The empty misgowling program, made by the people gathered, but still kept revising itself before we could even say anything. And because they knew Chris understood the formulas and algorithms and could decipher the program, they went all out, or so I was told. I say, so I was told, because I didn't really know the details. I just knew that the amount of time Chris was spending at the office has gone down, and she started whose programs and formulas right up until bedtime. For hour, she grumbled over them, till Lisa ran out of patience. When she wasn't sleeping or praying, she was staring at her tablet, picking her stills and pinching at her chin. It was borderline pathological like it was with Hagana, but she was certainly engrossing in it. When as I was checking over the companies started from the program, he was sitting next to me on the big spring flat cushioned sofa. She had opened several terminals, using both keystrokes and stylus to make program with revisions and decoding. She had a specialized textbook, open for reference. Apparently it even contained hardcore theses that haven't even been made public yet. She had this because he wrote, having gotten his doctorate from Lunar City University, was still on the record as an active researcher, so he borrowed a login for their thesis database. This situation like this made it very clear to me that connections were indeed a part of one's assets. True. Trying the net for information is conceptually fine, but this was raising her tablet on her lap, staring into it. When I said that, she perked up and looked over at me. It's hard to use, especially for anonymous boards. Those are no good. But the reasons for the sharp rises and declines are pointed out here, right? The same thing was pointed out from version 2.21. Collecting the rumors, classifying them, then comparing it chronologically with the frequency of sunrise fall. I'm not seeing a correlation between the number of rumors and the frequency of step price rise decline. Meaning, basically whatever these rumors were actually manipulating people was random. But I did calculate out the estimate earnings if all rumors were taken seriously at the point when a new rumor surfaced and it ended up being a positive number. A rumor factor index? The yield of the stock factor index was calculated assuming the case of all stocks being invested. So, assuming all rumors were invested into would mean it could be called a rumor factor index. But a monkey could do that. If a human was going to invest, then they would toss out all the crappy brands, and then they should outgrow this factor index. However, why shouldn't you do that if expected result was positive? Please look at me, but I just shrugged. The number of brands and their performance? 522 brands and 22% in half of a year. Normally, it wasn't too bad earning 22% while investing tirelessly. You're thinking in normal terms anyway. The real factor index yields was about the same, right? Pick at random as many brands as the ones in the rumors, all while ignoring them, then calculate out the predicted worth. It should give about the same numbers. Oh, the more rumors there are, the closer to the actual factor index it should be. I'm not saying she was a one-trick pony, but I thought she had the capacity to apply numbers ideas into actual equations. It was hard for her to take a step back and think. Looking at things as a whole was very difficult. It was just like with the charity group applications for subsidies. And if their paperwork was perfect, it was obvious that the amount of people written in the document couldn't fit inside that small of a building. And yet, I hadn't realized that. I do think I figured out a way to analyze company websites now. What? Chris, who had her chin on the edge of her tablet, as she groaned, suddenly lifted her head. That part, there I was understand the list. There are few sample words, and so much that doesn't make it out from the statistical processes. Yet, you're actually able to pick out statistically meaningless brands. Everyone just tilts their heads like, what magic in this? This is data. The keyword analysis. But this didn't really have any meaning. No, it does. I only had a vague grasp on it myself. What? It peered into my screen. A turf on her hair touched my nose, tickling it. I don't understand at all. Now, it's because you're only counting the number of words. Look at the types. Types? Yes. Sentences can still be sentences, even if you cut words out, right? For example, me, you, by the chunk, like that. I grasped onto Chris' head with my hand as I said that. He giggled, then pulled it back. Sheesh. Yeah, but so what? I noticed it when I was looking at the words separated out and lined up. These guys, they only talk about themselves. Huh? Take this for example. Pulled up the One Corporation's page. It showed a photo of a balding, heavy-set, energetic-looking CEO. I came to the lunar surface because I found a wonderful method to beat out the rest of the surface industry. I believe when my company makes that a reality, I will thoroughly improve the efficiency on the moon, and my company will continue to grow. Yeah, that is the archetype. You can give it craziness level of 1. He really didn't get it. I had no reason to pursue her, so I soon gave her the answer. There's a much simpler example. Try imagine the main figure for a company that you can't remember the name of. Okay. Now, try imagine the name of brand that comes up in your program often, that has strong credentials, basically one that I like. Huh? That one patch, right? Please look at me, confused. And that data was, regardless of how you selected it, was simply a collection. Let's consider investing as the process of picking out things from swarms of stocks. There are tons of companies you'd recognize by name, but would be unable to actually recall unless you heard their name. So, what should companies do if their results aren't that great, but they want to be remembered by people and to raise their stock prices? The president bursts in and starts ranting. So, the companies I want to give crazy points at a glance have the following words in common: I, beat, grow, certainly, believe. Okay, makes sense. Say I shallow them around. I certainly succeed, grow, believe. Imagine some foreigner speaker. Sorry. Imagine some foreigner speaking those words brokenly at the top of corporate page. What would you think? Please look at me, and her mouth formed a half smile. Now, look at the words used by brands alike. We, everyone, definitely, development, and effort, and improvement. I mean, I kind of feel it's more about PR than actually if company transfer or not. But I guess if companies have good PR, they probably more trustworthy, at least in stock sense or whatever. Anyway. Actually, starting with I versus we, leave a completely different impression right off the bat. It's easy to tell if it's corporation powerfully moving forward as a whole, or if it's just one company president who only sees his subordinate as tools, right? But I is easier to understand. Which tone appears to you the most? Being told, look at me, believe me, I will succeed, or please look at us, please believe us, we shall succeed. Please look at me, a bit surprised, and give her answer hesitantly. I? Right. You'll have clearer memories for faces than groups. So, for companies where you can't remember the name of their president, their logo is a recognizable alternative. But for those guys working permanently in the stock market, I likely go from one easy understandable thing to the next. I is the word they use there. Case had finished listening to my explanation. She let out a breath, as if spitting out everything in her chest. Her gaze, as if drifted slowly back to the monitor, betrayed that she never even thought of such a thing before. I can never notice things related to numbers, Hal. You really are amazing. He said that with a sweet smile, sitting on the couch with her knees up as she clutched her tablet. Her angelic, or perhaps innocent expression exuded a boundless tenderness. Lisa had once said that Chris was just like the sun. I felt I sort of understood what she meant by that. No, but that just... Hmm? Oh. Anyway, I don't see her for quite some time. So, nice to see Lisa again. Anyway. One's manner of speech betrays one's personality. Big Sis is glad you finally understand that. He seemed to appear from nowhere, poking me in the back of the head with something round. I was just about to say that, actually. Goodness, sorry about that, I guess. He was about to head back off to the church, still smiling. I tried to telling her to stop treating me like a kid, but I remembered something, so I called to her as her back was turning to me. Oh, that's right. Eleanor said the apple pie was delicious. Oh my. She said she loved you. She'd laugh if you could make an hour. Really? I was a bit worried, since there are tons of good pastry shops in that area. Yeah, she was probably just being polite. Okay, are actually one who don't really polite by saying this? Lisa's face twitched a little when I said that, but she still just shrugged her shoulders and made her way back towards the church. Well, okay. So we meet Lisa, but not for a long time. I'm kinda still interested if Lisa gonna play a big role in the future or not. Who knows? Because right now she really not connected with trading and stuff. So she looked totally like a background character. I would like Cyril a little more important because he helping with program. But who knows? This apple pie is really good. Eleanor looked generally happy. She didn't seem to be acting. But Joe didn't seem to sit well with Chris. She got a bit more miffed and said she'd tell Lisa that later. Well, that's about it. I'm sure our precision will increase if we gather information along these lines. Yes, I'll tell them so, but... And I looked over at Chris. I saw she began giggling again as she typed. Think back. You were really rough 4 years ago. Okay. Is that so? I agreed to some extent that my way of speaking was rather vulgar, but I didn't remember it being that bad. It was. It looked like you were always busy and in a rush. Now that you mention it, I can't say that doesn't ring a bell, but that was 4 years ago. So that just means you're grown up, right? He said that as she looked up at me with a wicked grin. This was probably payback for a conversation at Avalon. She was being so cheeky. I couldn't help myself. When I pinched Chris' cheek, she squeaked and sank her head into her shoulders as she laughed it. But yeah, it's true. Huh? I have grown a bit. That would have been impossible alone. His face looked silly, like a reflection in a crooked mirror, as it tugged on her soft cheeks. However, her eyes exuded intelligence and were a beautiful blue. Smiling gently, she took my hand. Okay, and again, her was starting to describe Chris as beautiful or something like this. So, there is big chance that Haru actually gonna develop a crush on Chris. Which is actually gonna be quite interesting. For me, I can't say what if I want Haru to be with Chris or Hagana, but actually I think maybe Chris is even better because they know each other much longer and be good to each other. But who knows? I guess we're gonna see. Who knows? Maybe they become enemies in the future. Like, it's gonna be quite unexpected, but then again, Chris said what she wanted to become as a Barton. Still can't really imagine her to betraying everyone. But it's gonna be quite a big turn if it's gonna happen. Anyway. Quite gently, she took my hand. That's right, you're not alone. 4 years ago, I was defeated and stuck in a pit of hell, losing Hagana, whose hand has once grasped mine. I felt like I had lost everything, but it had turned out that it wasn't the case. It helped me. Chris stayed by me. Council had shown support, and my parents hadn't disowned this foolish child of theirs. I wasn't here by my strength alone. I really did feel that the idea of words analysis can mainly come from that Lisa had said to me. When she would immediately imitate me and repeat my words back. I could tell when I sounded arrogant and foolish. And the program Chris was speaking right now, without being connected to many other people, it never could have been created. Chris was looking like she was having the time of her life, inputting stuff into her tablet. Probably because working on something together with someone must have been at least as fun for her. I thought this wasn't half bad either. I didn't think it was because of my dreams of going to an explored world had failed. It was better to have someone at your side. And more than that, I guess I should say that I had realized that, and if I managed to reach an untrodden land, if I were to look back, I would see a lot of people supporting me. As I was pondering that, I suddenly realized something. I filled with my tablet and checked my email. An email from Eleanor had come. The apple pie from yesterday was quite delicious. I ended up eating the whole thing myself. Please convey my complaints to Lisa. As for that we discussed previously, I tried gathering more data on my end. If there's any data or information you'd like, please contact me. I have faith that you, with your eyes, you'll be able to see something I have not. Postscriptum. Would it be possible to have her make me another apple pie? It was truly delicious. My apologies for abrupt dinner invitation. It had been quite a while, and it was very enjoyable. No need for word analysis there. I could tell that kind of room Eleanor was in when she typed on this email. But I had been forced to realize something by rereading it. Eleanor was really alone. Certainly, if one was to look around, they'd probably be able to find numerous stores selling delicious apple pies, just like Lisa had said. The fact that she'd asked Lisa despite this made me sense something else. Also, in regards to dinner, I had luckily treated to an unbelievably expensive meal, and undoubtedly Eleanor was busier than me. Of course, just as jokingly said to Lisa, social obligations factored into the way the email was written. But I had certainly heard it directly from Eleanor's mouth. I can't do this alone anymore, now. Just like my rebound from 4 years ago won't have been possible all by myself. But neither Marco nor Legov were in that room with her, and being in front of that aquarium in the cafe was the only breaks she had. And of course, it also reminded me of the conversation in the car as we headed to the restaurant. Eleanor had conviction, and she was bracing herself to make it a reality. But in real life, you encountered friction just by living and counting. Um, anyway, it could be that the massive amount of medicine on Eleanor's desk wasn't just for all the hard work she does. In the church run by Lisa, in the living room with Chris and Lisa, I relaxed as I inspected the data. Eleanor was working the headed word where huge sums passed back and forth. Huge sums, sorry. Forcing herself to act completely against her nature in front of a camera. Just seeing that room showed me that Eleanor was leading an impossible lifestyle. I wasn't, however, seeing the whole picture there. I suddenly became worried about Eleanor. What's the matter? Susan unexpectedly asked. I thought I was expressionless, she could tell. No, just remembered something. What is it? Please look at me with innocent eyes. The reason I was at a loss for words was because it was something I couldn't tell Lisa about. Couldn't tell Chris about. Even if I was worried about Eleanor, what could I possibly do? Pondering that matter, I realized that I didn't really know what kind of job Eleanor was doing. Hey, yes? You know, Analyst. Oh, I had the data. I should say they expected to have a good returns. I believe. No, not that. He was a bit confused. As she looked at me, there was one person that came to mind from that. I got up from the couch and made my way to the church. Liz was doing her daily cleaning in the church. When she realized I was there, she looked at me like she hadn't been expecting me. Why? What is it? There's someone I'd like to get in contact with. Interesting. Yeah? Do you know Mr. Tayama? Interesting. Didn't expect to hear about him. What? I guess it's a nice, especially because we know what he is, a nice guy, despite his looks. He hesitated a bit before adding a Mr. before his name. He was the money lender that had lent Lisa and the others so money back then. Lisa paused from cleaning and looked at me. There's something I want to ask him. Lisa looked like she was going to say something, but in the end didn't. I decided not to tell her that I had noticed her eyes going down to look at my right hand. Oh, how have you been? The gloomy mark showed up on the other side of the monitor. I can see the moon clearly tonight from my room. Unfortunately, I can't see the lunar capital. So he is on the Earth. Liam disappeared from the monitor for an instant and was back. He might have opened his room curtain. Sorry for calling late. Sorry, that's new. Liam laughed happily. When I first met Tayama, I intimidated him and twisted his arm. Tayama had a career and a few years on me, but thereafter I had always looked down on him. I regret it a bit now. He certainly was a rather silent, but in his own way, Tayama was a pretty cool adult. So, what is it? Thinking of becoming money lender? No, there's something I'd like to ask about banking. Toyama used to work in a bank on Earth before becoming a money lender on the moon. After I said that, facing a bit of time lag, I could see a surprised expression on his face. Thinking of investing into banks on Earth? I'd like to ask about what investment banking involves. After a brief expected lag on that low frame rate screen, Toyama appeared surprised. The transmission was to Earth, so there'd be a bit of unavoidable lag. These and Chris were next to me, however, giving a collective question mark as they listened to me speak. Investment banking. I was in commercial banking. You see, not sure what I could teach you, but I know quite a bit about it. I'd like to know about analysis duties. I could sense Chris and Lisa behind me looking at each other. Analysts. They're rather popular there. They show up on TV every so often here too. Do you know about it? Well, they guessed. But what would you like to ask about? What do they do? Honestly, I wasn't exactly sure, but I wanted to ask. Either. Even the conversation was not making progress. Toyama took up a pensive expression, replying as soon as he came up with an answer. What he blurted out next was intense. Frankly, they're slaves. Slaves? Yeah, investment banks are on the selling side. As the term suggests, they sell things like bonds and stock. An analyst's job is to do company analysis, to sell those bonds or that stock. From dawn to dusk, they are locked in windowless rooms, do this company analysis, making reports that nobody will see or read, day in and day out. It was a bit different from what I knew of them as. Do they do company ratings? That's if they raised up from being a slave to being a commoner. Ratings are basically what investing banks give to clients. You get that sort of stuff in the mail. You don't read it, right? He chuckled as he said that to me, and I nodded in agreement. If you're talking about an analysis skilled enough for people to pay more or less attention to, there are people writing reports saying certain stocks will make money because of this thing or that thing. Thereupon, the brokers in the bank work on that report and call up clients. Sort of like, yeah, our analysts picked up a good stock, and, well, type of thing. That about an incredibly good analyst. An incredibly good analyst. That's the same as a red herring. You'd think that they exist, but they don't. But skilled analysts become traders. That's because they know what the good brands are. Or they take their own reports, saying stocks results, to clients becoming star businessmen. If not, then they transfer all the consulting firms. Normally, one does not stay an analyst for long. Why is that? If you don't make money in investment banking, you won't become important. It was simple logic. Right. That rang true in the sector was neither fairness, nor following one rules. Neither ethics, nor a degree by the Almighty. Money was its own justice. I think I get now what you wanted to hear. You want to ask about whose popular analysis that show up on TV, right? Yes. Those are exceptional cases that have come about only recently. I don't think their job description has changed. Doubt. They are still just many for investment banks to grow food. The reason they are showing up on TV is because that fame makes it easier for brokers to sell to clients. Did you see the Market Watch last Sunday? What the stock our popular farms analysis that his name recommended like that. Or maybe recently. I guess everyone fighting over them. Our new released stocks or something. Yes, that. I'd like to ask about that part. Like I said, analysts write reports for investment banks to sell something. Then the investment banks collect their ridiculously large handling fee to list the stock. But in exchange, they are expected to safely sell the stock. That's why analysts put everything they have to write good reports. That honestly, in the conflict of interest, is not something to be praised. Actually, there supposedly are rules that whatever bank assists in new stock listing is required to send out reports for that corporation about every month or so. Well, in truth, it's not allowed, but a self-imposed regulation by the Trade Association. Conflict of interest? Yeah, obvious, isn't it? As long as the bank is collecting the scaling fee, anything is good. So we have enough motive to lie through their teeth. Plus, buying stock is all an individual's responsibility. So, having the price falls after that is none of their concern. Meaning, refusing to assist in listing stock because they were typical fraudulent corporation. Just as an example, let's say there's a company that commissioned an investment bank to list their stock because they want a popular analysis seal of approval. That's possible. But the popular analyst refused that job because the corporation handles is terrible. What would happen? If he could, then it'd probably feel wonderful. I haven't said that happily. It's the same thing as telling off that one boss would just push all the hard work onto you. It feels great on that spot, but imagine that will happen the next day. I said so earlier, didn't I? Who's will make money are the just. Then it's quite obvious what will happen to those who aren't making money, or essentially throwing it away. Thomas analysts are displayed pretty brilliantly, but it's undoubtedly brutal internally. Buyouts and new list presentations are going on the moon, right? It's an industry with hundreds of millions, if not billions, of the moons in circulation. Large sums can mirror up into the tens of billions moons. Investment banks want those types of jobs to collect their handling fee. It's likely that investment banks have created those popular analyses, so their fame would enable them to influence clients. On a scale where it would actually affect the stock prices. They just need to say things like, if you use our bank, then this famous analyst will be at your beck and call. Harsh of course spread over me. I got the feeling this wasn't all that different from human trafficking. It's an awful industry, honestly. It's like they concentrated the very essence of the loan surface there. Hank flees from the outer district to Earth. The Yama averted his eyes and spoke. In truth, commercial banking might look liquid in comparison to investment banking, but there's trust with the clients. The Yama had said that money lending wasn't an exchange of money, but exchange of trust. But with investment banking, someone is always fooling someone else. Corporation full analysts, so they can increase stock worth. Analysts full brokers, so they can have higher ratings and get out of slavery. And brokers full clients because they make their commission by selling stocks. Then everyone fools the consumer. Don't approve? Tom peered through his screen at me as he spoke. Consumers are fooling themselves. It ends up being the consumer looking at the strange corporations and buying their stocks. I won't try to dissuade you. I understand wanting to become one of those elegant, popular analysts, but no, that's not it. Oh, is that so? Well, if you're are thinking about entering the financial sector, like a small bank has its difficulties, but the travel enjoyable. You know clients for dozens of years. A bank can easily go under it where it skips down. So naturally, the relationship stays friendly. It's fun doing something with someone else. Leon said that and appeared to look off into the distance. Then he gave a small yawn. I remember that. Then that it was already night time over there. Sorry for pulling you into a long call so late. Huh? Oh, nah. But well, it does feel pretty strange, you being so worried about me. Liam laughed when he said that. I recall that I had visited his arm. I spoke brazenly at him, and Cal could only hang my head in shame. But it's been a while, and it was nice talking to you. So, could you put Lisa on for a bit? Sure, thanks. Not at all. Liam waved. I got up from the chair and motioned to Lisa, who was listening to the conversation, on the corner of the room, leaning against the wall. Lisa looked at me, a bit perplexed, but sat in the chair and began speaking with Tayama. Hmm. I left the room giving a small sigh. Chris came out a bit after that. Were you talking about Eleanor? Yeah. So, did Chris actually know about Eleanor's job? I wasn't sure about this. I get the short answer, and went over the conversation with Tayama in my mind. Brutal word. Large sums in circulation. No day that couldn't be true. Yet, when I heard that Eleanor rejected the trade proposal, all I could think was merely that every job has its downs. But what was the reality of the situation? Did, did she case tension with the aura around her? Ridiculous. It was 10 million moves worth of tension. It pained my heart how overjoyed Eleanor was over that apple pie. Turned out I felt like an idiot, hanging it to her wrapped in cloth in the middle of a fancy restaurant. She didn't appear bothered at all. So overjoyed, like a child seeing a Christmas present, trying to steal a glance. Eleanor was being overwhelmed with the sheer amount of work, as much as her documentation. On top of that, her convictions were being tested. Because of Eleanor's position, her employer was expecting her to give bad companies good reviews. What bad circumstances sent Eleanor's company under? Wasn't it just that kind of report that did it? In that case, that was certainly against Eleanor's sense of righteousness to give good ratings to fraudulent corporations, taking part in stuffing shit down the throat of the people to collect their cut. And Eleanor had actually really rejected it. But I was terribly mistaken as to what that decision would bring about. With her being so popular, I was sure she was treated like a god in her own company as well. Eleanor's little body, the medicine on her desk, the amount of work, and what that all the pressure. I recalled the terrible spectacle of that room. Hal? Huh, yeah, just going to go send an email. Not able to stay still, I returned to my room. I pulled up my tablet. But when I set out to write an email, I paused. When I felt that I wanted to help Eleanor, I had no idea what I could do. All that I was capable of doing was looking up stuff about Avalon. But as much as I wasn't a corporate analysis specialist, I wasn't a finance specialist either. I was only good at guessing if stock prices will go up or down. It was always like this for me. I could understand this superficial, and I could only give superficial assistance. But the moment I began to care for someone, I realized how powerless I was. I thought I had become the closest to the Hagana in this entire world. But it turns out I didn't even know her real name. Even still, I wrote an email. I had menial tasks, and cleaning her hotel room. Everything would be fine, if it could be helped her. I felt something akin to sense of uneasiness. I was confusing Eleanor for Hagana. The thought had been there in my head, but it was hard to wipe out that emotion once it bubbled to the surface. I didn't want to see anyone else I knew miserable anymore. I didn't want to have regrets, thinking I should have done things on our way. I ignored my steering right hand and tried with my left. I would think it might just be my imagination, or I might be bored here, out of the blue. If it was the case, it was fine. That's all there was to it. I was just about to send an email, asking only if there was anything I could help with. It was at that moment that the door suddenly swung open. Hal! I thought my heart was going to leap from my chest. I turned around to see Chris bursting into my room, carrying her tablet in her hands, then placed it down on top of my desk. There was a TV screen of a news flash on there with Pike at Avalon HQ, written in sprawling handwriting. On TV just now. He's pointed to the screen. Okay. There was certainly a lot of people gathered, each proclaiming something. And I saw the picture. For a brief moment I wasn't sure where it was supposed to be. Surely it was written that it was in front of Avalon headquarters. There was the iconic building in the background. Interesting, what's going on? But other people were dressed in heavy clothes, and I could see their cheering breaths. There was so much night market movement, but I can't liquidate my assets. Chris trailed off and looked at me. I looked at Chris' tablet. I could see her lose blaring red. She could liquidate because she couldn't initiate the program without being at Eleanor's office. Calm down. What happened? What is the meaning of this? She was likely panicking, because she was experiencing her first post losses, and the market movements were chaotic. When I turned on the TV, there was a press conference with Emerald Industries on, but more importantly, Emerald Industries. I had thought that they were attempting a hostile takeover, but if that was it, then why the widespread sell orders on our stocks on the night market? They must have announced something that would reverberate through society. Following my usual course of action, I get up my investing tools and check the news. And we're gonna stop here on the cliffhanger. It just... Yeah, I know it's cliffhanger, but I kinda already was waiting for quite some time to... Good place to stop. And... Since something going on, I don't think we're gonna get it really soon. So... I think it's good enough place. Anyway. So, obviously it's all for today. And we're gonna figure out what's going on with Alon on next Tuesday. Which not gonna... Which kinda close. So, I don't really feel bad about stopping on cliffhanger. But anyway, for now, goodbye. Have a nice day. Yeah, and I always forget. I guess I should remind you again, but it was last World ECONOMiCA and visual novels in general stream on Twitch. Starting from next one, they all gonna be only on YouTube, on Serial React channel. So yeah, now I said it again. So goodbye again. Have a nice time today.